Does Ned remember Peter? Brand new day ending explained. Warning, spoiler warning. Before we begin, this video contains major spoilers for Spider-Man Brand New Day and references the ending of Spider-Man No Way Home. We'll explain whether Ned finally remembers Peter Parker, what the ending really means, and whether Marvel is setting up the return of one of Spider-Man's closest friendships. With that said, let's get started. One of the biggest emotional moments in Spider-Man No Way Home was watching Peter Parker lose everyone he loved. MJ forgot him, Happy Hogan forgot him, and perhaps the hardest goodbye of all, his best friend, Ned Leeds. Doctor Strange's spell erased Peter Parker from everyone's memory, leaving Peter completely alone. But now, after the ending of Spider-Man Brand New Day, fans are asking one question: does Ned finally remember Peter? The answer isn't as simple as yes or no, because Marvel deliberately leaves subtle clues that could change everything. Let's break it all down. What happened to Ned after No Way Home? Before we talk about Brand New Day, let's quickly revisit what happened. At the end of No Way Home, Doctor Strange casts one final spell. Instead of making people forget Spider-Man, everyone forgets Peter Parker ever existed. That means Ned still remembers Spider-Man. He remembers helping save the multiverse, but he no longer remembers that Spider-Man was his best friend. Every memory connected specifically to Peter Parker disappears. When Peter later visits Ned, Ned has absolutely no idea who he is. It's one of the saddest endings in the entire MCU. What happens in Brand New Day? In Brand New Day, Peter and Ned finally cross paths again. At first, everything seems normal. Ned doesn't suddenly recognize Peter, he doesn't call him by name, he doesn't remember high school, or their adventures together. On the surface, Doctor Strange's spell still appears to be working. But then, Marvel quietly plants several emotional moments. Ned hesitates. He looks at Peter longer than expected. There are moments where he seems strangely comfortable around someone who should be a complete stranger. The film never explains these reactions, but they're impossible to ignore. Does Ned actually remember Peter? The short answer is, not consciously. Nothing in the movie confirms that Ned has fully recovered his memories. He never says, "I remember." He never recalls specific events. He never breaks Doctor Strange's spell. Instead, the movie suggests something much more subtle. Just like MJ's emotional reaction in the ending, Ned may still feel a connection he can't explain. His memories are gone, but perhaps his emotions aren't. That's a very important distinction. Can feelings survive the memory spell? This is becoming one of the central themes of Brand New Day. Doctor Strange erased knowledge. He erased knowledge, faces, shared experiences. But did he erase emotional bonds? The movie repeatedly hints, maybe not. Think about it. Ned spent years with Peter. They laughed together, protected each other, risked their lives together. Those experiences shaped who Ned became. Can one spell truly erase every emotional imprint left behind? Marvel seems to suggest the answer is no. Even without understanding why, Ned still feels drawn toward Peter. Almost like his heart recognizes someone his mind has forgotten. Could Jean Grey have influenced Ned? Now we come to another fascinating fan theory. Throughout the movie, Jean Grey demonstrates incredibly powerful telepathic abilities. She senses hidden memories, buried emotions, and mental barriers. Some fans believe her psychic presence briefly weakens the spell surrounding Peter's closest friends. If that's true, Ned may have experienced flashes of memories that disappeared almost instantly. Perhaps he couldn't fully remember Peter, but maybe, for one brief moment, something felt familiar. The movie never confirms this. Jean never says she restored anyone's memories, so this remains fan speculation, but it's certainly an interesting possibility. Why Marvel doesn't let Ned remember yet? There's another storytelling reason behind all this. If Ned suddenly remembered everything, the emotional ending of No Way Home would lose much of its impact. Peter's sacrifice mattered because it came with permanent consequences. Marvel doesn't want to undo that too quickly. Instead, the filmmakers appear to be rebuilding Peter's relationships naturally, not through magic, but through new experiences. Peter and Ned may become friends again, not because old memories return, but because they genuinely connect all over again. That's actually a beautiful idea. It suggests some friendships are so strong, they're destined to happen twice. What about Ned becoming Hobgoblin? Comic book readers immediately think of another possibility. In Marvel Comics, Ned Leeds eventually becomes connected to the Hobgoblin storyline. The MCU hasn't followed that path, but many fans wonder whether forgotten memories, confusion, or manipulation could eventually push Ned toward a darker future. At the moment, nothing in Brand New Day confirms that direction. In fact, the filmmaker portrays Ned as fundamentally kind. Still, Marvel has planted enough emotional uncertainty that his future remains completely open. Whether he becomes a hero, a villain, or simply Peter's best friend once again, only future movies can answer that. The hidden meaning behind Ned's story. Perhaps the real purpose of Ned's storyline isn't about memory at all. It's about identity. Peter believes losing everyone he loves is the price of being Spider-Man. But Brand New Day quietly challenges that belief. The movie suggests that real friendship isn't built only on memories, it's built on character. Peter is still kind, still selfless, still willing to help others. Those qualities naturally attract people like Ned. Even after forgetting everything, Ned still gravitates toward Peter. Not because of magic, but because Peter Parker is simply the kind of person worth being friends with. That's a surprisingly hopeful message. Could Spider-Man 5 finally restore Ned's memories? The ending leaves that possibility wide open. Marvel doesn't reveal whether Strange's spell can ever be completely broken, but the emotional hints are becoming stronger. MJ experiences unexplained feelings. Ned senses familiarity. Jean Grey introduces powerful telepathic abilities into the MCU. All of those elements could eventually lead to Peter's closest friends remembering the truth. Or Marvel may choose a different path. Perhaps Peter, MJ, and Ned build entirely new relationships from scratch. Different memories, different experiences, but the same friendship. Either direction could be incredibly emotional. Final thoughts. So, does Ned remember Peter in Spider-Man Brand New Day? Not consciously. The film never confirms that Doctor Strange's spell has been broken. Ned doesn't suddenly remember high school, their adventures, or that Peter Parker was once his best friend. But something much deeper seems to remain. A sense of familiarity, trust, an emotional connection that refuses to disappear completely. Just like MJ's tear during the ending, Ned's quiet reaction suggests that memories can be erased, but genuine friendships leave marks that even powerful magic struggles to remove. Perhaps that's the real message behind the ending. Doctor Strange erased what people knew. He couldn't erase who Peter Parker truly is. And maybe he couldn't erase how deeply Peter changed the people who loved him. Sometimes the strongest friendships aren't remembered, they're simply felt. So what do you think? Will Ned eventually recover all of his memories, or will Peter and Ned become best friends all over again without ever remembering the past? Let me know your theories in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more Spider-Man, Marvel, and MCU Explained videos, and